So I've got the nose breathing thing dialed in. I figured out how to make a mask that lets you breathe through the nose, and it basically it fixes your focus 100%. Just fixes your focus. So wherever your focus is broken, this can start to fix it, and that's it. That's pretty much all it does. Is it fixes your focus, and it lets you train your focus specifically as a full body balloon. So like wherever you have any ruptures in your attention or in your focus, that area won't respond to your breath, right? So your whole body is, your breathing is, the whole thing inflates like a bag. Everything's inflating on the in-breath and everything's deflating on the exhale. And so anywhere that's not inflating and deflating, all the way down to the cellular level, you're not focused there, you're not breathing, there's not attention, you're not present. And so the water causes you to be fully present with the activity or with the goal of becoming more present, right? That's the meditative thing. So the water, just the situation itself fixes your attention, and then with that fixed attention, the correct attention that the water gives you, then you're capable of fixing or finding or noticing where your attention is incorrect. And without the water, this is kind of why you need a guru. This is why you need water. Without the water, where your attention is broken, there's no breath, and so there's no way for you to notice it. There's no way for you to notice what you're doing wrong without the standard being like right there, without feeling it. And so that's also like, like when the soul creates certain life situations, it's because something needs to be like felt, right? So with this, the full attention comes, and you can feel where you're like, oh, I'm not breathing with my brain, or I'm not, and instead of there being a point focus of attention, your whole body, your whole being inflates like a balloon, and it's more a matter of squeezing that balloon pressure through all the different pipes and through all the different metabolic chains of the body, and inflating that against the pressure of the water, which facilitates that movement. And then all that does is it fixes your focus. And so there's a lot of ways that people enhance their focus with like extreme sports or adrenaline rushes or taboo or specialness or fame or attention. You can increase your focus using those things, but ultimately the focus or the breath or whatever kind of like slackens or dies through life. And so it's more of a lot of people focus not so much on breath maxing, right, of having the balloon be fully inflated and invulnerable. It's more of a noticing. There's a noticing, or that's why people refer to it as a realization. Nothing's fixed necessarily, but with the realization of your interaction with the breath, your interaction with life, your relationship with life, then but yeah, it's crazy. You'll have different injury patterns. You have different places that you're inattentive, traumatized, disassociated. Like for me or for mental people, there's like you can't, like, you have to kind of hold your breath to be daydreaming or to be thinking. Like it causes a lack of overthinking, like kills the brain kind of. It's like there's tension and all the blood flow goes away, so there's no breath. So that's why you see like very intellectual cultures, very intellectual people often lose what people call like psychic abilities, which is just the brain being used as a sensory organ, right? Like when you're sensing, you're not thinking. So all of the faculties that normally go into thought, like when you use the internet or when you're reading or judging or analyzing, all of the faculties that goes into thought about ideas is converted into like sensing the present or whatever. And when people do that, like when they use their mind to sense the present, then it's like, oh, then they see like intuitions, premonitions, visuals, stuff like that. So that's what people start like tripping on psychedelics, because the psychedelics just stop the thought. So then the only thing left for the brain to do is to sense with the breath. And then all of a sudden, like, oh my God, I didn't know all the rest of this world was here. And it's like, well, that's because you're using your mind to think all the time instead of using it to sense with. Oh, hitchhiker, my seat's too full. I'm sorry, my seat's too full. I don't have a spot for you. I don't have a spot for you. My seat is too full. Oh, sorry. So yeah, the only thing that the hosing is doing is it lets you breathe. You can apply that guru intensity to yourself to where you just see everything's wrong, everything's backwards, everything's a misconception, everything's like not. Then after you get used to that, hanging out with that, then it just sort of works. But it's like anything else. Nobody wants to see how they're wrong. Nobody wants to feel that stupid, right? That's what an awakening feels like. Or if you're actually learning spiritually or anything else, there's no way to avoid it. If what you notice doesn't make all of your past decisions, past everything seem retarded, then you didn't learn very much. Like you just learned a little bit. But if you learn a lot, if you really want to shift your paradigm, if you want to make big advances, if you want to raise the ceiling as to what's possible for you, your moments of learning have to be so intense that it makes you feel retarded. Everything you're doing is wrong. Every breath you've taken was misguided, was confused. And that doesn't feel good. So people kind of unconsciously avoid really, really leveling up, because it's like, I was wrong. So it's just ridiculous amounts of repentance, and like that's why people say like don't trust the self. It's just because the self is in a paradigm. Like the ego is in a paradigm. So you can't trust it because that every paradigm is limited. But if you're not thinking and you're using the soul or the faculties of the nous to sense, then there's nobody there to mistrust or whatever. So you can trust your intuition if it's like actually intuition, and it's obvious when it is. So if that's happening, don't listen to other egos saying don't trust your intuition because you're not trustworthy. It's like you are trustworthy. Made in the image of God, really, but from decisions arising from a paradigm. Not trustworthy. But yeah, probably, I don't know, I like, if you got the setup or whatever, I would say 10 to 20 hours of conversation, instruction, education with me to understand this technique, and like it, I don't see how in under a month or two, like you can't undo the majority of the problems caused by cell phones or various types of distraction where you're not breathing into a particular area. It would be very difficult for you to not learn how to breathe into those dead areas once you know how to use water as a standard of consciousness, water as a standard of relaxation, and water as a standard of awareness of being, and kind of like be willing to immerse yourself into that and to not block yourself off from the pressure that correctness applies to your breathing, and to let that correctness of being actually correct your breath. Yeah, I don't think there's really anything else out like it. The value of like what I'm kind of offering here is more than stem cells. It's like worth more than stem cells, surgery, the best massage, the best yoga teacher training. Like really, like what I'm trying to give here is worth more than all of that, financially, economically. And I'm like literally, I would probably give it away for free if somebody wanted, but it's crazy. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Everybody's good, doing good.